Thank you. Wow. Save some for the end. How many of you have never seen me before? This is your first time. Wow, everybody. So I'm not so famous after all. Anyway, nice to have all of you here. It's a long journey here for me from the farms of southern Idaho, where I grew up, to, next door to Disneyland, with all the spotlights and cameras and all of you here. It's just a bit much. It's unbelievable. I did my first for-pay seminar in 1963 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, called Adventures in Achievement. So this now makes my year number 41. So, a lot of years. And my big purpose now is to keep my journey going. I just got back from Argentina last week, and next week I go to Venezuela. Toward the end of the month, back to Italy and Europe. A little later in the year, Asia, South Africa, and Australia, and who knows where else. So from my travels around the world, I just really dropped by to say hello and share some ideas. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to share these ideas one more time. The ideas I want to share with you so dramatically changed my life. I'm always excited about the opportunity to share them, one more time. I quit school at age 19, unfortunately. My reasoning was, I'm smart enough to get a job. How much smarter do you need to be? And with that bit of shallow thinking, I quit school at age 19. A little while later, I went to work. A little while later, got married, started this little family, and I'm out there working hard, doing the best I could. But falling a little bit behind every year. Finally, the creditors once in a while are starting to call, saying, you told us the check was in the mail, and I'm embarrassed by that. And then I'm sure some of you, if you've listened to my cassette tapes or the CDs or heard some of my material, the Girl Scout story finally occurred, age 25. I hear this knock on the door. I go to the door, and there's this Girl Scout, about this tall, selling cookies for the Girl Scouts. I mean, she gave me one of the finest sales presentations I've ever heard. Special deal, several flavors, Girl Scouts, best organization in the world, only $2. And with a big smile, she very politely asked me to buy. No problem. I wanted to buy. Big problem. I didn't have $2 in my pocket. I'm a grown man. I live in America. I'm married with a family. I've been to college 1 year. And I've been working for 6 years, from age 19 to 25, and I didn't have the $2 in my pocket. And I didn't want to tell her that. That seemed too embarrassing. So I did what I thought was next best. I lied to her. And I said, look, we've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. We've still got plenty in the house we haven't eaten. She said, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And she leaves. When she leaves, I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I mean, how low can you get lying to a Girl Scout, right? I mean, that's the ultimate. So I started my search that day, and sure enough, very shortly, I met this extraordinary man by the name of Mr. Earl Schoaf, and my life was never the same after that. Chris mentioned ideas, and that's where this whole flow of unique ideas started for me, age 25. I had the opportunity to go to work for this extraordinary man. I worked for him for 5 years. Then, unfortunately, he died, age 49. But the things he taught me during that 5 years transformed my economic life especially. But my personal life, my leadership chances, all of that came from that unique experience. So maybe it's true when the student is ready. When someone says, I've had it, this is it. I don't want to live like this anymore. And then you begin a new search. So make this note now for the first of the notes we're going to share in my portion for today. If you start the search, the odds are excellent you will find good ideas. If you search, you will find. Finding is reserved for those that search. Ideas are not reserved for those that hope. They're not reserved for those that wish. They're not reserved for those who complain. You know, good ideas are reserved for those that search. So the first thing I want to do is congratulate all of you for being here, continuing your search, spending the money and spending the time to come and spend a few days and see if you can't, through the accumulation of hours and speakers that we have during this weekend, go home with a harvest of good ideas for your business, for your life, for your marriage, for your friendships, for your economic future, and, you know, for all of the rest. We've all heard the expression, nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. How very true. The walls came tumbling down about 15, 16 years ago in Germany, and the time had come for capitalism to finally reach those unfortunate countries that have been dominated by communism for so long. And that idea now is beginning to flourish. I've been teaching capitalism now for the last 10 years in Russia. I've made 5 trips to all the major cities. It's incredible when an idea finally comes and the time is right, what can happen. So, ideas, when an idea and its time is ready, it can be incredible. But now here's the next part for your notes. Nothing so powerful as an idea that comes at the right time. And hopefully today for you and the rest of this series of good trainings, this would be a good time for you. Maybe you've got 3 numbers of the lock that needs 4 numbers. And you've already got 3 already dialed in from, you know, the sermons you've heard and the lyrics of the songs you've listened to and personal conversations and meetings and trainings and seminars and books you've read, all of that, right? You got the 3 numbers. And just maybe this weekend could well be that 4th number for you that you've been looking for. And the lock will open and the door will open, and there could be some real new accelerated opportunity for you over the next few years of your life. So I hope that's true. From what I have to say and from Dennis and Brian and other speakers that are going to share with you, this could be a very important weekend for you. I hope it's one of those life-changing weekends where you look back and say, wow, I was never the same. And the chances are excellent if you keep going to as many things as you can get to in terms of information, ideas, seminars, lectures. Because if you go continuously and systematically, some of them will be routine, some of them may be ordinary, and then just once in a while, some may be extraordinary, and you're never the same again. And you'll look back on that experience and say, that was one of the days that turned my life around. So I hope this weekend, from what I have to share and the rest of the speakers, this is one of those extraordinary weekends for you. Here's another note to make. No one person has all the answers. No one person has all the ideas. We need to gather ideas from a variety of voices and from a variety of experience, from social to personal to political to the management of time, the conservation of resources, business, entrepreneur, career, all of that. Being a good parent, a good mother, being a good father, being a good friend, a business colleague. You've got to have a whole variety of ideas. So this weekend, we're going to have a chance for that. Multiple speakers and a chance for multiple ideas to come your way. Next is a little phrase that I'd like to have you memorize. And if you memorize it, I'm sure it'll follow you for the rest of your life. And if you're ready, say, I'm ready. Ready. Here is the phrase. You can write it down as we memorize it. Here it is. From testimonials and personal experience, repeat that for me. From testimonials and personal experience, We have enough information to conclude. I'll let you write it down. We have enough information to conclude. So repeat for me. We have enough information to conclude. If you were composing this, I don't know what you would write after this. We have enough information to conclude that it's possible. Jot that down, that it's possible. So repeat for me, that it's possible. And the rest. To design and live an extraordinary life. Make that note, to design and live an extraordinary life. So repeat that for me. To design and live an extraordinary life. Now, let's repeat it from the beginning. Here we go. From testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. I hope you will give that little phrase some consideration, and here's what's next. I hope you buy the idea that from testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. And what I want this weekend to be for you is the gathering of more ways and means to design and live for you an extraordinary life. I don't know how far you want to go. Here's the first essence of life, and that is self-preservation. To produce enough to take care of yourself. The instructions given right to the couple that left the Garden of Eden. One was to multiply. It's a lonely place with only 2 people. But here were the next instructions, to be fruitful. How fruitful, how productive should one be? And here's number 1, to produce enough to survive. To produce enough to take care of yourself. And self-care is important. If you're flying on an airplane, the flight attendant says if for some reason we run out of oxygen, these oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling, and if you have children with you, quickly take care of them, then take care of yourself. No. 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 They say what? Put your mask on first. Put your mask on first. See to your survival first. Then you'll be more capable of taking care of the survival of your children. Isn't that interesting? My father had an interesting saying. He said, son, right after me, you come first. I thought, wow, that's okay. I was in business with Bob Cummings, the old movie star. We were in the health and nutrition business together back in the 60s, 61, 2, 3. Bob had an interesting saying. Here's what he said, I'll take care of me for you. Will you please take care of you for me? So the first challenge in life is to take care of yourself. It is to survive. So, to produce enough to survive, to take care of yourself. But now what's next? Well, all alone, it's a lonely life. So let's say the man now chooses a partner. Now he must figure out how to produce enough for himself and his spouse, his wife, his partner. Someone says, well, why do that? Why not just take care of yourself? And the answer is, it's a very small life. It's a very limited life. We wouldn't call it flourishing. We wouldn't call it abundant. Just taking care of yourself. That is the first rule, but that's only the beginning. So the man gets married. Now he must produce enough for himself and for his wife. And here's the key phrase to make a note of: to live the higher life. A life of togetherness. The storyteller says, it seems even God didn't want to be alone. He created all of these angels. Right? So, to join with someone now, you must produce enough for yourself, for your partner. Now, is that it? And the answer is no. How about children? Let us have children. That's a unique experience. So now if the man has a wife and now he has children, here's the challenge: to produce enough for himself and his family. Now someone says, well, why take on all of that? Why not just take care of yourself? You could, yes, but you couldn't live this more extraordinary life without taking on the responsibility of having a partner, having some children, and live that kind of extraordinary life. So I think everybody would agree. Now, is that the end of it? No. Here's the next challenge: to produce more than you need for yourself and for your family. Someone says, well, now why start being ridiculous here? Yes, produce enough for yourself. Well, yes, if you want to get married, produce enough for yourself and for your spouse. Now, with children, produce enough for your family, but why do more than that? And jot down the answer: to live a more extraordinary life. So now the man produces more than he needs for himself and for his children, so that he can be a person of benevolence, so that he can give and so that he can share. That's the more abundant, that's the more extraordinary life. To produce more than you need for yourself and for your children. Is that it? Let's take it a couple of more steps. How about producing much more than you need for yourself and for your family? Someone says, well, now you're off the scale. I mean, why work that hard? Why go that far? Why produce that much? Some would say, just take care of yourself. Some would say, just, get a partner and that's it, and then children and that's it. And be a bit benevolent and that's it. But why not go this next step and produce much more than you need for yourself and for your children? And when someone says, why do that? All of us know the answer, right? Why not? If you've got the talent and the skill and the opportunity, why not put all of that together and see if you couldn't produce much more than you need for yourself and for your family? Let's say you earned $10 million this year, and you and your family only need $3 million. Which would probably cover most families, right? Some families are more expensive than others, as I discovered. But let's say $3 million would, cover a big, high percentage. So now if you and your family only needed $3 million for the year, now you have $7 million to give. And someone says what? Why do that? And the obvious answer is what? Why not? If you've got the talent and the skill and the time and the opportunity and the occasion and all this stuff comes together, why not? Let's go one more. How about producing far more than you need for yourself and for your family? And live the far more life. We've heard the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? Andrew Carnegie said this. He built the big steel industry back in the 20s here in America. Here was Andrew Carnegie's goal. I'm going to spend the first half of my life earning money. I'm going to spend the last half of my life giving it all away. Isn't that extraordinary? Wouldn't you call that an extraordinary life? And the answer is yes. He got so excited by that goal that the first half of his life he earned $400 million, which back then was a lot of money. I mean, now, right, it doesn't seem to be that much, but, maybe back then it would total $40 billion, like Bill Gates. So $40 billion he earned the first half of his life. Guess what he did with the last half of his life? He gave it all away. And the big question is, why do that? And the answer is, why not? If you've got the opportunity to live, design and live an extraordinary life, you know, why not do that? So here's what I want this weekend to be for you. Plenty of ideas to take home, chew on, digest, you know, throw some away, refine some, you know, accept some, do some, whatever. That's what this weekend is really for. To send you home with a whole new library of thoughts to ponder, ideas to try, disciplines to work out, some skills to learn. And if we do that and do it well this weekend, you will say, hey, it was certainly worth the time and the money to go to that weekend Jim Rohn seminar, Jim Rohn and Friends. Now make these notes. What I hope you find here this weekend: ideas plus inspiration. That's the mixture that really turns things on, you know, sends an entrepreneur program into high gear. Ideas plus inspiration. We need ideas for the goals and plans, and we need inspiration for the emotional vitality to put it to work, to make it grow, make it multiply. And here's what else I hope you'll find here: guidelines for translating response into results. You've responded to the call. Come, search, look, listen, take notes, get it, to take home with you. And I'm sure you're going to respond well to the, you know, seasoned teaching and training that is going to be delivered here this weekend. But here's the key: guidelines for translating response into results. Because results is the name of the game. There's no purpose in learning just for learning's sake. Wisdom and faith, as powerful as those components are, serve no useful purpose unless they are deposited. So make a note of the word, deposited. Wisdom and faith deposited into activity. Wisdom and faith put to work now produces a hotel, produces a Salk vaccine, produces a city, produces an institution of learning, produces a career, produces a relationship, right? Ideas and faith, believing that it's possible, that ideas can work miracles, now put to work. So the big job here is getting it all. And so now make the next note. Next is going home and translating it into high activity. Good health activity, a better relationship activity, an entrepreneur program activity, a new burst of speed in your sales career, all of that. That's what I'm really interested in. Because here's what's important to me, is for my name once in a while to appear in someone's testimonial. Make that note. It's one of life's greatest experiences, is when your name appears in somebody's testimonial. Somebody says, here's the person who found me. Here's the person who got me started. Here's the person who wouldn't let me quit. Gave me more reasons for staying than for leaving. Here's the person who believed in me until I could believe in myself. And then they mention your name. See, you can't buy that with money. And you don't have to give lectures and seminars to do it. You don't have to have an audience like this for the weekend in order to deliver value to someone's life. What if you had breakfast with a friend at Denny's 4 years ago, and you recommended this book that really meant a lot to you, and you said to your friend, you've got to read this book. I think it'll make a major contribution to your life. And your friend accepted the idea, went and got the book. Now, 4 years later, he's giving his testimonial. His business has flourished, his marriage is safe, things are going extremely well, and someone says, where did this all begin for you? And he will say, 4 years ago, at Denny's coffee shop. I sat with my friend, and he insisted that I read this book. I went and got it. And that book led to the next book, that led to the next class, that led to developing skills I never had before, and that led to some more seminars and lectures. And now look at my business, look at my life, it's flourishing. But it all began 4 years ago, Denny's coffee shop, when someone said, "You've got to read this book." See, that's a person-to-person seminar. And those are just as valuable as person to 1,000, person to 10,000. Right? It doesn't matter the number. If you have a chance to deliver, quote a poem, recommend a book, here's a phrase, like I gave you this one to memorize. I think you'll remember this one maybe for a long, long time. Just something that's really extra meaningful to someone, whether it's at breakfast or wherever it is, whether it's for a child or whether it's for an adult, a friend, a business associate. If you'll keep up that process, I promise you, your name will continually appear in people's testimonials. And now I've had this happy experience now for the last 40, 45 years. And so that's one of the reasons why I came here this weekend, right? I don't need the money. I've long ago made my fortune. I take the money, but I don't need the money. But here's what I do need. Continuing testimonials that say, Mr. Rohn, on a summer day in Anaheim, California at the Marriott, I was there that weekend, and something clicked, and the lights went on, and I got the gift of some good ideas. Here's what's happened to me. Then they mention my name. See, that's what I want. Continuing testimonials that come back to me saying thanks for sharing ideas. Okay. To get the most out of this weekend, jot these notes down now. Number one, be thankful for what you already have. Thanksgiving sets up, the situation where ideas can flow. Here's what locks up the doors of opportunity for good ideas, and that's cynicism. All you have to be is a practiced cynic. Cynical about the government, and cynical about politics, and cynical about the future, and cynical about the economy. Cynicism locks all the doors. But if you'll be thankful for what you have, however modest or however much it is, I think that's the beginning of receiving a flow of new ideas. Here's the next one. Be eager to learn. There's already some extraordinary success stories in this room. If we knew how successful, we would give you the podium. I would be happy to take notes. No matter how successful you are, be willing to learn some more. We in the Millionaires Club invite a billionaire once in a while to come talk to us. And he says, well, you guys are doing okay, but, how about stepping up, right? How about multiplying by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10? Come on, you've just gotten started. So no matter how well you're doing, we could all use another idea, a couple of other things that linked together with what you already know could give you a whole new burst of productivity and extraordinary lifestyle. Then to get the most out of this session this weekend, you have to do what we call some tough listening. And sometimes it's difficult to gather up everyone's, attention, because our lives really seem to be going on outside this room. A part of our life is going on here while we're here. But some of us, our kids are out there, and our business is out there, and our career is out there, and our job is out there, and everything is out there. So sometimes it's difficult to bring yourself within the, framework, inside these 4 walls, and just really concentrate and do your best to get it all. Because I know how meaningful ideas can be. The name Earl Shope, still rings in my mind. I'm 25 years old. After the Girl Scout story experience, I'm introduced to a man who I had a chance to go to work for, and over the next 5 years, the ideas he shared with me not only made me rich, but gave me the foundation for a long-term career of sharing ideas, building business, making profits, hopefully wise investments, made an extraordinary contribution to my life. This unique man, he only went to the 9th grade in school. So the things he shared with me over that 5-year period were very simple, very ABC. But that's where I got all of those simple phrases. Let me just review some of them for you very quickly. For things to change for you, you have to change. I kept hoping the government would change and taxes would change and prices would come down and things would get better. And then he said, for things to change for you, Mr. Rohn, you have to change. Wow, what a new revelation. Next, he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. All of this started me on this unique journey of what I now call personal development. Here's another one. This is, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. It's not less problems that makes you successful, it's more skills that makes you successful. I tried to convince him by showing him my paycheck that I wasn't doing well, and I blamed it on the company. And I said, this is all the company pays. He said, no, that's all the company pays you. I thought, well, that's a new way to look at it. He says, doesn't the company pay some people 3, 4, 5 times this amount? And I said, well, yes. He says, well, then this is not all the company pays. This is all you get until you requalify, accelerate your qualification for the bigger numbers. See, that was all great revelation to me. I tried to convince him that things cost too much. He said, no, you can't afford them. All of these were new ways of looking at things. Unbelievable. And so I started listening to all this stuff. Now, some of the things that really accelerated my learning curve so that I could do better quickly was learning the success equations. Here's 3 of them. The first one comes from the Bible. The question was asked, 2,000 years ago in the Bible, according to the storyteller, what is the key to greatness? What's the key to self-esteem? What is the key to getting honors and trophies to put on the mantle above the fireplace? What is the key to receiving great respect? What is the key to wealth and abundance? What is the key to all of that, an extraordinary life? And here's the answer that was given, capsule form. According to the storyteller, the answer was, find a way to serve many people. Find a way to serve. Find the ways and means. Start rendering service. The more you serve, the greater your fortune. Service to many leads to greatness. Key. Next, John Kennedy. Speaking of politics today, we're surrounded by political speeches. Here was one of the best, John Kennedy, on his inaugural to be President of the United States all those years ago. Here's what he said, don't ask. Wow, don't we wish that was the current political philosophy? Where is John Kennedy? Where is he? John said, don't ask what the country can do for you. Ignore these promises of what everyone's saying, what the country can do for you. He said, don't ask what the country can do for you, but ask what? What could I do for my country? See, that's the whole turnaround in philosophical thinking. By asking, you receive so little. By serving, you receive so much. So rather than settle for the pennies of what someone could do for you, why not turn it around and find some way to serve? It's a pretty simple process. Here's what I taught the Russians. Johnny mows Mrs. Brown's lawn. She pays $3. Every time he mows her lawn, he collects $3. Thinking in terms of what could I do for my country? Surely Mrs. Brown is one of the members of the country. So he mows her lawn and collects $3 and starts what we call an income and a career. Now what's next? And here's what the Russians were excited about. What if Johnny gets Pete to mow Mrs. Brown's lawn? She still pays the $3, but now Johnny gives Pete $2 for mowing the lawn and keeps $1 because he's the one that got the work. Now we have the beginning of an entrepreneur. Now we have the beginning of fortune. Here's a good note to make. I started part-time on a little adventure learning skills and disciplines, and here's what I began to say with my little part-time job. I said, I'm working full-time on my job and I'm working part-time on my fortune. And the reason is because I found the mechanics. I found the philosophy. I started working it, serving other people. One way to serve is to mow Mrs. Brown's lawn and get the $3. The other way to serve is to get someone else to do it, and you collect that extra money. Finding ways to serve. That's the key to wealth and greatness. Then here's the next one, and everybody knows this one. I heard Zig say it over 40 years ago, Zig Ziglar. And when he said it, I wrote it down, and if you haven't ever written it down, write it down. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. When I heard Zig say that, I wrote it down, and maybe you want to do this. Underline the word everything. That's what was intriguing to me about this sentence. So these are the success equations. This is the wealth formula from the Bible, from John Kennedy, from Zig Ziglar. Now, make these notes. In the journey of personal development, one of the first things to learn is the lesson of the seasons. Let me cover as much of this as I can before we take our first break for the day. The lesson of the seasons. For your notes, life and business is like the changing seasons. One of the best ways to illustrate what's happening in your business, what's happening in your life, is this illustration of the changing seasons. Frank Sinatra used to sing, life is like the seasons. Now here's what's next. You cannot change the seasons. One of the things to, come to grips with is what you can change and what you cannot change. You cannot change the seasons, but here's the next phrase, but you can change yourself. Therein lies the chance to live an extraordinary life. Learning to change yourself. In an economic sense, my mentor put it this way. To climb the ladder of success as high as you wish to climb, here's the key. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. He said if you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. But if you work hard on yourself, you could make a fortune, which is super fine. Then let's put it in philosophical language. Two things on economics philosophically. Here's the first one I learned. Your income is primarily determined by your philosophy. I didn't learn that until I was 25 years old. They never taught it in high school. I went to college one year and never heard it. Your income is primarily determined by your philosophy, not the economy. Then when I finally understood that, I got excited about it because I knew I couldn't change the economy, but I was assured that I certainly could change my philosophy. And I did that. And here's the philosophy. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract. So the key to the better economic future is to become an attractive person with an attractive personality, an attractive list of skills, your knowledge of the marketplace, your ability to deal with a variety of personalities, all of those things that anyone can learn with a bit of study, practice, repetition. So the key is, you cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. But let's talk about the seasons, just in a brief outline here. Number one is the winter time. I don't know where we've caught you this weekend. Maybe it's spring for you, maybe it's summer, you're toughing it out, maybe it's harvest, you're cashing it in. If we knew the story, we'd let you lecture. But maybe for some of you, it's one of those winter times. Personal winters, social winters, economic winters. There's a variety. So what about the winter? Make this note, it always comes. So you got to be prepared. Hopefully you've done your homework. You're ready and prepared for this winter more than you were some others that have come into your life where you were less prepared. Make this note of a Bible story. It's very important because it's one of the great lessons of life. I'm an amateur on the Bible, but here's what the storyteller says. There were two nice people. So make the note now, two nice people. Not one good and one evil, but two nice people. However, and that is the drama of life. However, two nice people. However, one built his house on the rock, and the other built his house on the sand. Two nice people. Meaning it's possible for nice people to be casual. It's possible for nice people to be careless. And sometimes you can be careless and lose your life. Not evil, just careless. In Los Angeles now, when the light turns green, if you're in your car and you're there at the intersection and the light turns green, you better not go. For 2 or 3 seconds, waiting for the maniacs that are running the red light, crossing in front of you, even though the light is green. That little extra bit of caution, rather than being aggressive, little bit of caution could very well save your life. Here's a father who loves his family. He's an honorable citizen. He makes good money. He contributes to the community, his church. He's a good man. But this morning he's in a hurry in Los Angeles, late for an appointment, and he's pushing it with his automobile. He comes to the intersection and the light turns red, and a little voice in his head says, "Go ahead, you're late. You can make it." And now he's dead. You don't have to go to Iraq to lose your life. You don't have to be evil to lose your life. All you have to be is a little careless at an unfortunate moment. So the key is to be not overcautious, but to be cautious. Don't build your house on the sand. Now add this note now. We're all tempted. When I was growing up, there was a cartoon of a little boy. And it showed this little boy with a little devil on one shoulder and a little angel on the other shoulder, both whispering in his ear. And the little devil said, "Go ahead and do it, it'll be okay." And the little angel says, "No, no, 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 it won't be okay." "Yes, go ahead and do it." "No, no, no." How often does that occur for all of us? Every day. Go through the red light, it'll be okay. We must beware, okay? Not to be careless, not to be casual, and build your house on the sand. The same is true with your health. Don't build on the sand. The same is true with your career. Don't build on the sand. The same is true of being in business. Don't build on the sand. Build on the rock. Because even nice people can make careless decisions, casual decisions that accumulate over a period of time. And those could be the winter. Now here's the note to make. Some winters are of your own making, and some are not. Some are just the winter experiences. Maybe the whole country goes through it. It was a long time of winter for the Russians who lived through the communist system for about 80 years. Long winter of political despair, lack of freedom. But what's the key to the winter? Here it is in simple language. Hang in there. I mean, you know, winters don't last forever. Some are difficult and some are easy, but they never last forever. The night always comes after the day, but it doesn't last forever, just a few more hours. And if you hang in there, say your prayers, gather a little strength, you can make it through the winter and the night. So winter time. Here's the next season now, the season of spring. Make this note. My definition of spring: opportunity.